The only time legitimacy will be given to any administration in this country is the moment people will walk to their polling stations and donate back their sovereignty in a democratic election to choose whoever they think should lead them. That is when you'll have stability in the nation. Anytime you are going to call people on the streets to say anything, there's only one thing that unites Kenyans. Ruto must go.
Ruto must go.
And Ruto must go because of the economic pain. So this is colonialism. We are being turned into slaves by a Mwindi in 2024. No. The next election, the issue that should be on the table is not even tribe. The issue will be the economy. And we've been able to identify the elephant in the room on the economy is debt. What he told me is that in life, you need to have what we call self-actualization, satisfaction. Be satisfied with what you have. Don't be greedy, because greed gives now problems. I'm Willis Otieno, an advocate of the Court of Kenya, and also a budding politician. And the position I'm gunning for in this country is Deputy President.
Hi guys, welcome to Banter Box episode 33. My name is Wasandra.
And I'm Shem.
Hi, my name is John, and on today's episode we have a guest, so we'll take the honors to let him introduce himself.
Thank you very much, John and the Banter Box. I'm Willis Otieno, an advocate of the Court of Kenya, and also a budding politician. I'm in Safina party. Our party leader is Jimmy Wanjigi. And the position I'm gunning for in this country is Deputy President. And you can see one of my competitors is facing serious challenges in his own party. It tells you how my force. The Bible says that I will blind your enemies. Even the enemies are fighting themselves before I start campaigning.
Okay. So when were you admitted to the bar?
I was admitted to the bar in 2009. On the 1st of October, 2009. I got married on the 3rd of October, 2015. So October is normally a very good month for me.
Oh, okay.
My admission is in October.
Hey.
I get married in October. My anniversary was the 3rd of October. And we celebrate Shujaa Day in October. So October is a month to watch. The Shujaa that I have in my life are the people of Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Because for once you can see the things they're doing. They're changing things in this country.
Okay, that's nice. So on today's episode, you're going to discuss. Okay, we might want to discuss so many things. Now that you're a politician, we might not finish the conversation. So we'll narrow down to Shah and Chief. We'll narrow down to, we also talk about the impeachment of the DP. Now that you're the designated DP.
But not under Ruto.
Under
No. Ruto must go. He must still go even if Gachagua goes.
Okay. So first of all, let me take it easy. I feel like the political environment as is right now, most of it has been largely contributed to now Raila working with government. So do you feel like, and we'd like to narrow down now to the AU bid. First of all, just kuiguzia kidogo. So who do you think loses if Raila then does not get AU? And do you feel like Raila stands a chance to get the seat?
You know, first, on a normal day, Raila's chances in Africa, he will have won this thing in the morning. Because Raila has created his own Pan-Africanist image and built networks. But now Africa is judging Raila using the eyes of William Ruto. Because William Ruto has done so many things across the continent and in the global scene that is portraying Kenya in a very bad way. When Ruto goes out and starts talking about Russia is supporting Gen Z, he talks about, he panders to the West, even goes against the AU position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He went somewhere, I think it was in France or Italy. I think it was Italy. That G8 forum. And he takes a very strong stance against Russia. What does the fight between Russia and Ukraine go to do with Kenya? Then when he went to that meeting, he speaks against the Palestinians. When Africa as a continent has taken a position, we recognize the rights of the people of Palestine.
Yeah.
So when people are now looking at Raila in the continent, they are not just looking at Raila as Raila, that the one we know. They are looking at, this is the Kenya position, and he's the Kenya candidate. So there are some countries that may have ordinarily supported Raila. But now because of the stance that William Ruto has taken, they may be hostile. Remember the first thing Ruto did when he became president on his Twitter page? When they decided to recognize Western Sahrawi as an independent state. And that picked immediately a fight with Morocco. What was that for? I mean, you should have some way in which you handle other countries. This nonsense that he does to Kenyans here, he walks around lying. You don't take it to international relations because those are independent countries. And there are long-standing issues in some of these things. And people have taken positions. The compromise have been reached. So you don't just jump in and you speak carelessly. In fact, Ruto is a careless talker. He just talks. But the consequences are dire.
Okay.
The consequences are dire. So now Raila, if yesterday I would have said he will win hands down, today I'm not sure. Because what will Morocco do? Though he's not a member of AU, but Morocco has influence in the Sahel region. How will it take it? What will Russia do in terms of the Kenyan candidacy? Russia also has influence in the region. So Raila finds himself in between a rock and a hard place.
So in hindsight, it really means that the Muslim-dominated countries might not actually back Raila.
Not to say, I don't even think it will be more on a religion. It will not be on religious basis. It will be more in terms of geopolitical interests of nations. So that the countries that Morocco, for example, has a stronger sway in, if Morocco takes a hostile stance against Raila, Raila is going to lose those countries, which he could have won anyway, ordinarily. When Russia also decides to exert influence on the countries that it has control over, they are friends with, and says we are not voting against the Kenya position, Raila ends up losing. So, and these are not based on tribe, on religion. These are based more on what is our strategic interest as a nation. If Morocco is giving us, is one of our major markets or trading partners, and we don't want to undermine that trade with Morocco, we want to continue with a friendly relation for those countries, they may say, we'll pat our partners back. Russia is supplying lots of materials, military, healthcare, health equipment to many countries, and they also trade with those countries. So if they start to exert influence, then it will go into cost Raila. And it's not on religion, it's across.
So let's say the Arab bloc.
That is just one bit, but there's also the Francophones, who most of them now are, they are not hostile to the Russian treatment.
So he does not stand a chance.
He stands a chance, but
He
how
stands
will
a
he?
chance, actually.
He stands a chance, but I'm simply saying, even him, at some point he has to show that he's not William Ruto.
Yeah.
Because if he's William Ruto, if it was William Ruto on the ballot, this election will have been over by now.
Lost.
The Djiboutian will have taken the vote. So now Raila is carrying the burden of William Ruto on his back when he's campaigning. So he must explain and over-explain himself. But these countries also have their diplomats here in Kenya. They have the intelligence. They're gathering information. So tough luck, man. But he made his bed. I can only wish him well.
So let's take a scenario, just a scenario. If Raila loses, so then who loses? Is it Ruto or Raila himself? Now that the state is also sponsoring his bid, and also Ruto is trying to make the next elections kind of smooth for him.
Let me say this. In terms of William Ruto, Kenyans are done with William Ruto.
Yeah.
That man we are done with. We are just trying to find out who is the next. And I've told you I'm here. But the time will come. Ruto we are done. Ruto we are done with.
And now, before we continue, Ruto also wants to take over 7. They want to add 7 years on it.
That is nonsense. Look at even what they're doing on the Gachagua impeachment.
Yeah.
Anytime you are going to call people on the streets to say anything, there's only one thing that unites Kenyans. Ruto must go.
Ruto must go,
And
yeah.
Ruto must go
That's
because of the economic pain. Yeah. So even that proposal by Senator Cherargei, because if you look at the constitution, it has to be taken through a referendum.
Yeah.
So even if members of parliament were to pass it, on election day we will whip all of them and we'll throw away that bill. Because Kenyans, as I always say, have taken over their sovereignty. Kenyans breached parliament on the 25th of June. On that day, we were done with William Ruto. We were done with the parliament. 25th of June, in biblical terms, is the day when the hand of God wrote on the wall, Mene, the Kel. That was the end of this regime and members of parliament. We don't care about them. There's nothing they are going to do that will succeed. The people have rejected them, and they'll never get the public goodwill of the people. So that on a normal day, if Gachagua was being impeached and public participation was being done, on a normal day, many Kenyans have an issue with Gachagua. They will have been there saying, get rid of him.
Yeah.
But now we are looking at him and saying, there should be both of them. Why only this one?
Now
We want to get rid of them both, not just one.
Gachagua is better.
They're not even saying it's better. They are simply doing it as a way to show William Ruto, show him the middle finger.
Yeah.
This one that you don't want, we'll do it. We'll maintain him there as part of messing you up. Because it has to be Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong. I mean, if you ask me, the things Gachagua is accused of doing, William Ruto has done 10 times more.
Yeah.
Because when Gachagua says, he defends watu wa Murima, usiguze Murima. But William Ruto look at the appointments of
Parastatal Zeds.
and his tribes people. Go and look at who walks around with the TSC appointment letters in his in this village, funeral meeting.
This guy's from Western.
No, it is Rift Valley.
Rift Valley,
They walk with the TSC appointment letters. Yeah. When we have people who have qualified to be teachers, 15 years out of work, and yet somebody in Rift Valley qualified, graduated last year, he's being given an appointment letter at a funeral. But this young man in Webuye, this one in Mvita, who has been out of job, out of university for 15 years, cannot get an appointment letter. So William Ruto has done far much more worse than Gachagua. If you talk about taking illegal debts, it is William Ruto's government. If you talk about killings, who is the commander-in-chief?
The president.
It's him. So why, if you were to discuss anything today about removing anybody from office, the first item on the impeachment should be, we want justice and accountability for the 60 plus Kenyans who were killed during our revolution. We want justice for the young people who were abducted. We want justice for those who've been forcefully disappeared. And I don't think Gachagua could be accused of any of those.
Yeah.
The person to whom they back in terms of these ones is William Ruto. He's not taken any action for his police officers, those armed goons working with civilians, with balaclavas on their faces. He's the one who should be impeached. The impeachment motion that should have been brought in parliament is William Ruto's, not Gachagua's. And I'm not saying Gachagua is any
He's not a saint.
we get rid of Ruto first, then Gachagua follows.
Gachagua next.
Gachagua is ugali sauce.
Okay, now that we want to talk about, we'll start with the Gachagua'S impeachment. So, just like Ten Hag and Riggy, I think their fate in leaving the offices is just a matter of time. so they already took the signatures, the 117 threshold, and it was surpassed. And it was definitely tabled by the Kibwezi West MP. Wengi Mutuse. So do you feel like it is more political or legal or a legal battle?
Let me put it this way. I want you to understand what is going on in the country. And anybody discussing Kenyan politics, at any given time, put your finger on the 25th of June. That was a momentous day in this nation because the people took back their sovereignty. Power is in the hands of the people as we speak.
Yeah.
So what did William Ruto do to try to regain that power? He dissolved his cabinet. It didn't hold. People did not give him legitimacy. Then he went for Raila Odinga. He got Raila Odinga's people into cabinet. We call it now broad-based cabinet. It's not holding. He's not getting the legitimacy. Then now he has gone for Gachagua. Because he's shedding skin. This guy is about self-preservation. It has nothing to do with the nation. So he thought that because Gachagua had advertised himself as somebody with a very acerbic tongue. And many Kenyans were angry with Gachagua anyway before. That if I throw Gachagua in, throw him to the wolves.
The wolves. Yeah.
That the wolves will be satisfied with Gachagua. But he's not getting the legitimacy. So all these things that he's trying to do is part of a quest for William Ruto to gain the legitimacy that he lost on 25th.
On 25th.
He will not get it. The only time legitimacy will be given to any administration in this country is the moment people will walk to their polling stations and donate back their sovereignty in a democratic election to choose whoever they think should lead them. That is when you'll have stability in this nation.
And so the best way for him, so in your point, do you feel like he should really go or they should just finish their term as a couple? Because now the Lord of the Mountains is definitely dealing with it politically and of course legally, because it's sending proxies. You saw guys like Malala were in court trying to stop.
People filed because there's a case which I just seen a ruling issued by Justice Mongo today, in which he has even said this public participation being done today is not enough. They have to do at the constituency level as well. They look at what is happening in the public participation. Morara is being beaten up.
Being beaten up. Yeah.
You've seen Nakuru, the forum has turned chaotic. Those papers have been burnt in Nyeri, in Muranga, across the country. And who is even recording? So the public participation that is meant to be done today has turned out to be what I'm telling you. The people saying, we are not happy with William Ruto. Waende pamoja. Waende wakiendanga. The two of them. Don't come to tell us. So when the report goes back to Parliament, and the people have said, impeach both, will Parliament still continue with Gachagua alone? Or they'll say, this motion has to be amended to accord with the public participation. And so members of Parliament, ideally, in fact, if I was in any of these cases, I will actually amend my petition and say the views from the public was impeach both. So Parliament cannot proceed on one without including both.
Actually, on that point, I think actually this impeachment motion is like hot air.
Yeah,
I think it's just a diversion.
Yeah,
for the Adani deal and the things that are being swept under the carpet in the government to go through.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's true to an extent. To an
that.
extent, if you see how William Ruto is behaving, he's a man in a hurry.
Yeah.
The 3 years is a very long time. He can't wait. So it tells you, even he knows that the legitimacy is not with him.
Yeah.
And this thing can explode any moment. So as we do this Gachagua thing, maybe try to grab whatever he can, conclude some deals quickly.
Because I feel
if it was about fairness to the people of Kenya, the same resources Parliament is investing in doing Gachagua'S public participation, they could have subjected Adanis to similar public participation. Because whereas Gachagua will go and I will become the deputy president in the next administration, Adani
will not be big on board.
No. Adani was trying to take away our sovereignty.
Yeah.
He's actually appropriating unto himself property, land, what is called a sovereign location of this nation.
Yeah.
He's appropriating it. Adani is trying to colonize us. He's a colonialist. Somebody is coming from India to come and colonize us here in Kenya. When our forefathers fought the Mzungu, at least our forefathers were colonized by the Mzungu. That time they didn't have technology. They didn't even understand where this person is coming from. They didn't have the knowledge. But they were able to fight. Once they understood the Mzungu and the Mzungu ways and his weapons, they were able to fight him. And they fought. People fought on this land. In fact, across the world, where the British Empire was, in fact, they used to say that the British Empire was the one empire where the sun never set. At any given time, the sun was up in one part of the empire. There is no place in the world that the Mzungu was fought as hard as it was fought in Kenya. Then now, after we've gotten our independence, now a Muindi comes in from India to colonize us. Take our JKI, take energy, take health sector. And this is what we call empire building. You know, when you want to empire build, you take strategic sectors. So once you take the airport, it means you've taken over the entryway into the nation. It's all about you. You determine what comes in. I hear even at the port now, there's information coming out that there's something that they're trying to do also at the port of Mombasa. So they are controlling the entryways into the country and the exits. Then you take the health sector. That is now human life. Then you take the energy. That is the entire production. Because there's no manufacturing that takes place without energy. So this is colonialism. We are being turned into slaves by a Muindi. In 2024. No.
But with this energy thing, the argument is they are trying to actually take the monopoly away from KPLC.
You see, KPLC is a distributor. It just sells to the retailer, sells to the consumer.
Yeah. Okay.
But these people are not just taking, they are targeting Ketraco. Ketraco is the transmission lines, man. KPLC does not transmit electricity here. So if you take the transmitter, so it means I'm the one. You're the thick middle. You control everything. You determine what the retailer is going to sell. If he shuts down that line, doesn't transmit, or he decides the coast. Yeah. I mean, somebody just sitting somewhere at the thick middle.
Yeah.
You can just decide, turn on, turn off. Kenyans are making noise. You can do nothing about it. He decides to increase his rates, even by 2 shillings only. That I think I'm bored. Let Kenyans give me, each of you, slaves, give me a shilling more out of what you've been paying me, or else I'll turn off this.
So it all comes down to the money.
Yes,
About the money.
of course, about money.
Yeah.
And you see the new liberation that we are fighting across the globe, maybe save for a few countries, maybe Western Sahrawi, Palestine. Most people have gotten political independence.
Yeah.
So in terms of political independence, it's accepted.
Yeah.
It exists. But we are now in an era of economic revolution. We are now seeking for economic independence, where people need to be able to self-actualize economically. So the systems that were previously controlling us politically, they're the ones who they maintained control over the economic system.
Okay.
So when we are fighting for this economic liberation, you'll see them resisting. They'll try to camouflage themselves as to private entities to come and continue controlling us, so that we can forever become their slaves. Whoever controls your pocket is your slave master, man.
Yeah.
Huh? When somebody says that we've taken illegal debts, whose money is it? What is it used for? It means somebody has taxed you in advance.
Yeah.
So you'll pay me for the next 30 years that you live. That is debt.
That is debt.
That is debt colonialism. It's part of economic
Servitude, actually.
Yes, servitude.
Yeah.
So you are going to continue paying because that even your children, because you have debt that you'll be paid. In fact, Kenyan debt today is 60 years ahead.
Yeah.
So for the next 60 years, so you, your children, your grandchildren,
And the others being taken also.
the others they're still taking more,
Yeah.
are going to keep paying that money. So you're enslaved. That's why as Safina we've said, no, we'll not pay even those debts. They're illegal. Cut the chain of debt.
They should be audited, actually.
Yes, we should audit the
They
debt
should be
book and
audited
say
and, yeah.
what is not legitimate,
Yeah.
cut it off. And I'll tell you this. You know, we've done our forensic audit. And it's important that Kenyans understand the phase we are in. In our forensic audit, we look at our debt books. Today, we are told that we owe 11 point something trillion, 7.2 trillion, something like that. And in the period 2013 to 2023, we had paid as debt, what we've paid out, almost 6 trillion. Now, this debt book is 11 trillion. You've paid almost 6 trillion. What you're paying is not going down. Then we went to our laws. What does our laws provide? You only take a loan to finance a project.
Yeah.
You build a road, put up a bridge,
Yeah.
build a school, something, a project, something tangible that you can see.
Okay.
Now, if you are telling me that we took loans worth 11 trillion, I always give the example of Thika Road. That Thika Road that you're seeing, it is worth 30 billion. Now, that is tangible, you can see it.
Yeah.
It was a loan,
Yeah.
30 billion. Tell me this loan of 11 trillion, the tangibles that this loan
This
put
loan
up.
has, yeah.
Weston.
Even Western will- yes, but the point is this. Then also, we require that before you take a loan, you must get parliamentary approval. We looked at our books. Where did Parliament? How much did Parliament approve to be taken? So we found Parliament approved that you can only in 10 years, you can only take loans worth 2.3 trillion. So we ought to have taken in 10 years loans worth 2.2 trillion. We took 10 trillion. We paid 6 trillion.
That's from 2013.
So in other words, and then Kibaki handed over during Kibaki, from Moi to Kibaki's time, we had a debt of 2 trillion. So our debt book ought to have been 2.4 trillion. We paid almost 6 trillion. I think it was around 5.6 trillion. So in other words, we overpaid. We are owed money. If we follow our laws, atuna deni, we need to be paid back the excess. And why this is important? Why is the cost of living bad in this country? Why is government always increasing taxes, charges, and levies? Because As it is, what they present to you, 80% of their revenue, of the money they collect from you, goes to debt finance.
Yeah.
They are left only with 20%.
And that should not
They
be
can't
the
live
case.
on this 20%. They can't pay salaries. They can't give counties because salaries is 30%.
Yeah.
The counties need 15%. Operations need 30%. So they're already in a deficit. They are borrowing, apparently. So they have to come to you every day to raid your pockets, take money off your pockets for them to be able to live. And they continue borrowing more. So if, as we say, we've done our forensic, we don't owe anybody any money, in fact, we are owed money, then I will not have an appetite to raise tax. In fact, you will demand of me, it's a legitimate demand, you must reduce tax. Because before we were paying this high tax when it was raised, was because of that debt. See, now the debt is not on our necks.
Yeah.
So tax also must come down.
So in short, there's budgeted corruption.
This is budgeted corruption, exactly.
Okay, but pushing on the same line, you say that we've paid in an excess, but how practical is it now to get the money back, or really to trace the monies
Let me
where
tell
they've
you.
gone?
Let me tell you. So you just bring the debt register here.
Yeah.
Then bring the Appropriations Act for the last 11 years. Bring all of them here. So you look at the Appropriations Act, because in the Appropriations Act, it specifies where the revenue. This will come from tax. This will come from a loan to fund this project.
Okay.
This loan will be given by China Exim. This one will be given by Africa Development Bank. This one will be given by Bank of India, Government of Japan. It's specified. So we calculate all of that for 10 years. So anybody who is not in this list, in the Appropriations Act, passed by Parliament,
Should not be paid.
we should not be paid. We'll tell you we don't know you. Then we call Central Bank, bring us, you're our banker. Yes, tell us who you've been paying. If you've been making any payment that is not here in the Appropriations Act, this is illegal. Give us back. In fact, we'll arrest the governor.
Actually,
Then we call those bankers, if they are local banks, if they are international banks, we go and arrest them. And this thing happened. Mozambique, they took tuna bond. $2 billion US. The same time Kenya took Eurobond. $2 billion US. That was 2014. Then when the time for paying came, and the people of Mozambique were like, "Aye, we don't have money to pay this tuna bond." Iko shida. So some citizens went to court, and they said this loan was not taken according to our laws. It's an odious debt to us. And their parliament, the Attorney General, went to court saying, "No, this is a sovereign debt, we must pay, you are the sovereign, the people of Mozambique must pay." The court said, "No, but you didn't follow the laws of Mozambique in taking it. The man didn't even come to Mozambique. What came to Mozambique was the obligation to pay." The court said, "Atutalipa." Do you know, Credit Suisse collapsed.
Hey.
But now with
The president, the then president's son, who was the one orchestrating this deal, is in jail as we speak today. The finance minister in jail. The head of intelligence in jail.
So-
Because people took loans in the names of Mozambique, the money didn't get into Mozambique.
Yeah.
What got to Mozambique was the obligation to pay. So you say, "No, we are not paying."
We're not paying. 'Cause
See, Mozambique is still there. Why can't we do the same in Kenya?
So-
It takes courage.
so what are you waiting for?
We will do. That is what. Why William Ruto cannot do it?
Okay.
See, Uhuru was the president when Eurobond. Let me take, for example, Eurobond. He was the president. Ruto was his deputy, cheerleading and defending Eurobonds.
Yeah.
Aden Duale was the majority. Kimani Ichung'wah was budget chair. I mean, these people are the ones who've been taking these illegal loans. And even him as president, you see him, Parliament approves that you take 360 billion debt. William Ruto casually just comes on TV and tells you, "Oh, because you're the finance bill, I will take 1 trillion
Yeah.
from domestic debt." I mean, in your budget, your debt was this much. Where did 1 trillion come from? And you see them floating domestic bonds here every year, every month. They're taking loans. For what? Because anytime you take a loan, every Kenyan should say, "This loan is being taken to build our dam."
Yeah.
Let everybody go and stand next to their dam waiting for the money. Because you are taking a loan, you can see it being taken. But people just take 1 trillion casually. You don't know where it is going. The law says you only take a loan for a project.
We don't see the project.
We don't see the project. All we see
loan.
is increasing our taxes to pay the debt. As we have the courage, I don't have any shackles of incumbency. I've not been in Ruto's government. I've never been in Ruto's government. I will have the courage to say we are not paying Whoever took that loan will freeze assets. Go and pay it. We take people to court. And that's what the Kenyan people need. Otherwise, we can as well go and do a referendum and say, we accept all this debt. We accept to become slaves. We'll pay it. But me, I don't think I will accept. Me, I'll say no. Why should my grandchildren be compelled to pay a debt that didn't build a bridge or a road in the city or in the village that they can use? Why?
Hey.
That's the conversation we must be having.
Yeah.
So that in the next political conversation, I believe, the next election, the issue that should be on the table is not even tribe. The issue will be the economy. And we've been able to identify the elephant in the room on the economy is debt. Some people think it's corruption. The corruption that we are discussing is only taking place in the 20%. The bulk of it is 80%, the debt. So if you don't have the courage to deal with the debt problem, that you want to deal with corruption before you deal with the 80%, you are wasting our time, because the bigger issue is the 80%, debt, illegal debt that we are paying for. That is what, and it needs a courageous person to face that debt problem. Because I assure you, there are so many players, as my party leader Jimmy normally says. Okay. I should not even be worried. He should not even be worried about William Ruto. He should be worried about the internationals who have facilitated this thing from taking to take place. Those are the ones who we should be worried about. But it needs the people of Kenya to say, if they want to take us out, come for all of us, as we are not paying this debt. Yeah.
But now we are not at a position, unless now we actually approach it now the legal way, but we cannot just say it by word of mouth.
We can do it politically by electing a leader that is committed to do that.
That is
we make a political decision that we are not paying.
That is where I want
look at Mbadi. Mbadi was in the opposition. And with all due respect to Mbadi, he was in the opposition. I'm sure he understands this issue of debt. Now he's forced to take ownership and to defend that debt and to sign every month when he's doing the estimates, the actuals.
For me, I feel he's going to go through a lot, because he'll take all the burden for. Yeah,
he's taking a burden of things he doesn't know.
Yeah.
But as we are going to throw stones at him, he's the one sitting on the chair. But in the ideal, these are mess of Uhuru and Ruto and Akina Gachagua and Duale. They are the ones who are doing these things. But no, but unfortunately for him, he's in broad-based. Too bad, man.
So do you feel like, so it's a cry for money for them now that they joined government? So it was really a bad idea for them to actually join government. Because either way, these guys had political seats, like Mbadi was a nominated MP. So is it really that he wanted to save us from the death thing? Because
I don't know.
It seemed like he had all the solutions.
He told us he didn't know about the seat, so
he knew a lot of theory about accounts, but
so that is
but the practical things.
You know, that's why it's important when you want to get into something, into leadership. Take your time to understand.
Yeah.
Study the terrain. I think I've taken now my time to study the terrain. And that's why I'll tell you, I'll not talk about corruption. I'm not saying corruption. Corruption exists. In fact, William Ruto's government is full of corruption.
Let me stop you before you even continue. I wanted to ask you about, now you've talked about it, I wanted to ask you about your journey to what made you think about joining politics or debating about it, or just what made you think about joining politics?
First I used to, let me say this, after admission to the bar, I worked for NGOs. I worked at ICJ, went to Transparency International, then I went to ASA, the Electoral Institute for Sustainable Democracy in Africa, supporting elections. And I didn't see myself as a politician. It was more to support governance institutions. So I was comfortable with NGOs. Then in 2017, we met with Jimmy, then he took me to Raila to be his campaign manager. And Raila gave me that job in 5 minutes of meeting, told me you are.
Hey.
So in 2017, 5 minutes, told me, he understands elections.
Before you continue, there's my dad, there's some truth that you are saying. As Kenyans and politics, not so many guys will want you to say the truth about the things that you can see. They'll want you to lie so that, you see, izo wongo kidogo, that they don't want you to say. You see the way you are saying, it's about debt and it's about debt. Tuache kudanganyana. It's- Not so many people will want you to say that truth. So if you say the truth, they will put you aside because you'll be like, huyu atafanya tujulikane.
In fact, I was coming to that. So in 2017, I'm the campaign manager. We do that election. So I have a front rows.
You were paid.
I was volunteering. but I'm not saying that. You know, that campaign, they were not bad people. They compensated me for my time. I took time off my law firm to fully do
The management.
the management of the campaign. It was hectic. That's the time when, for the first time in Africa, we nullified the election of a president.
Yeah.
We caught him stealing. Man. We caught Uhuru Kenyatta stealing, robbing the people, stealing sovereignty. He thought that he had put the margin of victory to be 1.4 million votes.
Hey.
We were able to overturn 5.4 million votes of that after that scrutiny exercise, which was more than the margin of victory. So what I did was I developed a keen interest. Because when you are working closely with the politicians and you are in the political process, you have a keen interest. You start identifying what are the problems, what are the issues that the campaign will need to deal with when it gets into power. Then in the course of that, handshake happens. And Jimmy and I, we became very close. So that campaign, we had worked very well. And we had a very good bond. So when handshake happened, we decided, not, because the problem was Uhuru Kenyatta. How does this handshake deal with the people of Mwananchi? We are not getting involved. So we kept away from handshake. Even BBI, we kept away. We believed that Raila at that point had decided to give up the quest, so to speak, for the purpose of the 2017 election.
Okay.
Because as we were for resist,
Focus.
we had sworn in our president on 30th of January.
With the Kina
At
Miguna.
Uhuru Park. Yes, I wrote that oath.
good.
Miguna administered. But I kept that oath until after 2 years, I gave it back to Raila, the original oath.
Do you feel like Raila was opportunistic for that?
I'll not say that he was opportunistic, but maybe I don't know what informed, because sometimes...
No, not as a manager now.
As well as I will not say, because, sometimes you make decisions informed by certain considerations.
Okay.
Maybe he felt that the resist was becoming too much.
Much.
The weight was weighing on him, I don't know. But maybe his energy levels to keep resisting had also reduced. But us, maybe we are just starting. As him, he had done the campaign. He had done the frontal campaign. He had been all over the country as we were in the office. So as when resist started, that's when now we were starting. We were just warming up. So maybe as we had more energy than him, because he had expended a lot of it on the campaign. So I don't know what considerations. I will not say it was opportunistic. Maybe it was a strategy for him.
Okay.
I don't know. So I will not judge him. But I felt that on my part that I didn't have the bandwidth to go and work or be anywhere near Uhuru Kenyatta at the time. So we kept away, and we were in ODM at the time. And Jimmy was running for president in ODM. And we had discussed so many things, even the issues that we believed if Raila won, needed to do. We were not seeing them being done in the handshake. This issue of debt. That time, 54% of your revenue was going to debt finance.
Okay.
Now it's 80.
Hey.
That time it was 54. Out of every 100 shillings you are paying as debt, 54 shillings was going to pay debt. At least you still had 46. Now it's 80, you only have 20. And those are a very big issue to us. So at some point we were like, come to think of it. I mean, this same problem, me in, out. You elect people, the things they pursue. Who said that there's a special school for leaders? So you can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So we just go and seek election and do these things we keep pushing people to do.
Yeah.
So we do it. And this is a challenge I give to every Kenyan, anybody who is watching us. There is no special school of leaders. In fact, having been exposed to the political class, I'll actually tell you the difference between the average Kenyan and the political class, most of them, is that they're just fools with courage. In terms of competence, Kenyans are brilliant here. I mean, Kenyans are brilliant.
That's true.
What the most Kenyans lack is that courage and conviction to present themselves for elections. But those of us who are advances have the courage and conviction to stand up and address a crowd and convince them. And they reduce campaigns into very mundane things, not the real issues.
Yeah.
But in the ideal, So that even what you see as Jimmy and myself, what we talk about, as we're telling you the problem, we're telling you it's debt.
It's that, yeah.
And of course, it makes many people uncomfortable. Because then you are educating Mwananchi. You're opening eyes of Kenyans to stop thinking tribe. You know, for the traditional politician, it's very comfortable when you say that, for example, I'm just using Mbadi as an example. He's my friend, so unfortunately, he takes most of it as an example. That when somebody says that Mbadi has been made the CS for finance, so ideally all those should be happy.
Should be happy. It shouldn't
That
be
now
the case.
the money is...
The normal bay.
Money is sleeping in Norma Bay. I was in Norma Bay, and somebody told me that this money that you're taking is sleeping in Norma Bay, but it is Omena. That's the thing with Mbota. I mean, so that is how politicians will prefer that our person is there, we are okay.
Person, yeah.
But your problems, the issues, your failed healthcare system, the collapsing education system, these young people cannot get jobs. And they've gone to school, acquired all the qualifications required of them. They can't get jobs. The high cost of living. Those issues are still there. So money will sleep in Norma Bay, but people are still poor. People are still dying of preventable diseases.
Especially
people are not,
especially
even in Norma, not especially, even in Norma Bay. Even in Norma Bay. Because I'm not saying Mbadi has caused that problem.
No,
that problem has been there. So even putting Mbadi as a CS finance does not solve the problem.
Change anything.
So me, I'm saying, let's have a situation where whoever is appointed anywhere, you have a leadership that whatever policies they come up with, it impacts the whole country. I don't need to know a minister. It doesn't need to come from my village. I just want him to come up with policies that change our lives as Kenyans. Because the pain felt in Norma Bay is the same pain being felt in Sugoi.
Yeah.
Don't think that William Ruto's neighbors are living a good life.
Yeah.
No, they are suffering. They are suffering. They are feeling, they are buying, they are shopping in the same market other Kenyans go to. They are jobless people in that constituency. The unemployed youths who are now reduced, teachers who are now riding border. In Sugoi. So this idea of that, is our neighbor, now you will not eat your neighbor. My friend. Talk, engage in elections where you're asking somebody, Willis, you want to be deputy president, what do you stand for?
What do you say?
Regardless, you want to be deputy president, what do you stand for? What is your economic promise? But the traditional politician lies, mtu wetu. No?
Just
It's about tribe.
Just on that point, I think we should acknowledge our cultural differences, but I think that's why devolution was brought into place, because we are empowering the local leaders.
Yeah.
So I think we should not change it to be tribal now, the way it is being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, the traditional politician prefers that route because they don't want you to know.
To know.
Yeah.
Because if all of us knew, like this debt thing that we talk about, if all Kenyans knew that you are actually paying 80% of your revenue to debt, and the bulk of this debt is illegal debt, people took a loan in your name and kept the money abroad. The money didn't come here. All that came here was a responsibility of you to pay. I do believe Kenyans will not vote along tribal lines.
Yeah, there'll be one.
And if you saw Gen Z's revolution on the 25th of June,
Yeah.
you know, on the streets, I was on the streets. All the demonstrations I attended, even the 99 one I attended, I go to all. I'll tell you one thing. There was no tribe on the street.
Yeah.
They are only
True.
Kenyans.
Only Kenyans.
And the issue was bad governance and the economy. That was all. They didn't care about that, you're a Luo, you're a Kikuyu, a Masai. No. We were all Kenyans. And that is the new Kenya we are getting to. I am very optimistic. I am actually a hopeless optimist that Kenya turned a corner on the 25th of June. That in the coming election, Kenyans are going to interrogate politicians and aspirants in ways they've never, especially the ones running for president and deputy. You will have Twitter spaces here that will have more than 3 million participants. And they will ask you hard questions.
Yeah.
Don't think that you are going to come and tell us, mtu wetu, that you mix this and this. No. It's going to be issue-based campaign.
Yeah.
And the campaign that will convince Kenyans in terms of the economy and give them tangible promises. Don't think you are going to promise people at nitapea mama mboga 10 billion.
Those are white lies
It
now.
will be tangible economic and they can see it, walk it through.
Yeah.
Like us in our campaign, we'll be very clear. Because as we believe in what is called supply-side economics. What is supply-side economics? It's good Kenyans understand this. The traditional politicians, that is William Ruto and even Azimio, then they practice what is called demand-side economics. Demand side is where government is the driver. You all look up to government.
Yeah.
Tutatengeneza,
Tutajenga.
tutawapea. So Ruto says, I will give Mama Mboga 10 billion, Boda Boda 50 billion. Raila in Azimio says, I will give unemployed youth 6,000. That is supply side economic. I mean, demand side. Government is the Father Christmas. Dishing.
We're all depending.
Dishing. But supply side economics, we are saying government becomes a facilitator, not a driver.
Yeah.
But economic growth is driven by the people, private sector. So what you need to do is identify government barrier. What is stopping you as an individual from growing? Then government removes that barrier. So I'll give you an example. Ruto says we have a problem of ntawajenga nyumba. We have a problem of housing.
Yeah.
So government will build for you houses. Then they go to Kirinyaga. Kirinyaga has almost 600,000 people. And they're putting up 2,000 housing units. And they want to make so much noise about it in town. Now, 2,000 housing units, a population of 500,000, that's a spittle.
Yeah.
That's a drop of water in the ocean. But it's the government coming to build. As our approach will be this. If we have 500,000 people in Kirinyaga plus, why are they not able to put up decent housing?
These houses, yeah.
Because there's a budding population that is growing at a higher rate. So there's demand for housing. Why can't you do? Why are people not building? So you ask, what is the barrier? The barrier is you go to the bank to get a facility. You are told a loan is 20-25% interest rate. Many Kenyans will not be able to afford. That's a non-performing loan right away.
Yeah.
And why is the interest rate so high at 20%, 25%? It's because the banks are lending money to the government.
To the government.
And the government is borrowing at 17%.
17%.
So the bank prefers to lend to the government and not to you. So how do we address the housing deficit in this nation? Government walk out of domestic borrowing.
Yeah.
Get out of that market as government. Stop borrowing from the domestic market. The banks, the insurance funds, the pension funds, SACCOs, they have money. They must pay their depositors and their shareholders dividends. Now, they will be forced to look for alternative market away from government. So they'll come to you and I. They'll be all over on the streets, in everybody's offices, offering you loans at low interest rate. It will even come down to 5%, even 4%. Now, with 4% access to credit, I come from Kirinyaga. I'll be able to say we have a Gen Z population growing up in Kirinyaga that spends a lot of time on Instagram. They've understood soft life. So let me put up studio that is well done, furnished, properly done, like the ones in Nairobi. Somebody else is able to go to the bank, get a credit facility. It says that, okay, beyond the Gen Z, we have this middle class that is coming up, newly employed. They need 2-bedroom units or 1-bedroom units. He will put up. Because we identify a market, and the private sector is everywhere. It's you and I. We are spread across the country. So you will build 1 million new housing units here. Modern, furnished, well done with good sanitation, water, electricity, everything. Across the country, 1 million in less than 2 years. Because everybody will be identifying their market niche.
Their market need,
And as you're doing that, you'll be boosting the economy, because you imagine the construction boom that will be taking place here. All these workers, these 100,000 workers that William Ruto makes noise about that is employed in his housing, affordable housing units, we'll have employed over 3 million if you needed. Because it's across the country. The building sector will employ more people, because now we'll be demanding more cement, more steel. So you have identified a government barrier in a particular sector. You've now enabled a sector to grow. When that sector grows, even government will collect more in terms of revenue. I always also give the example of broadcasting, even what you guys are doing. You know, when Moi was in power, some Kenyans will not remember, but even radio, FM was only in Nairobi and a few towns. You couldn't catch FM stations outside Nairobi and the major towns. So Kibaki says, why are we stopping broadcasting? I have manufacturers who are not able to access markets. They are not able to advertise their products. Because you are limited. You're only advertising on FM, Nairobi only. So he decides, please, liberalize the airwaves. So he liberalized the airwaves. Now, you have Egusi FM, Egusi. Uko broadcasting in Kisii in Gusi language. You are producing cement here in Nairobi. You've been given, our government has removed a barrier that was denying you from accessing a market. You are now able to advertise your product in Kisii, in the Gusi language, that even the bottomest part of Kisii, they're able to understand. They are aware of your product. They'll demand for it. So what does that do? It means there'll be now demand for this particular product. So the producer, the manufacturer has to produce more. He has to employ more people to respond to the demand.
The demand.
So government collects more money. So you remove a government barrier, you collect money, and you're able to now do more services. Because your responsibility is now you go and build roads, improve our healthcare. You are responsible not to build for us houses.
True. Because I don't know when affordable houses will get to Gunja. Hey.
It will never get to Gunja. It will never. But in Ugunja, you'll find there's a teacher teaching at Rangala High School, Rangala Girls. That teacher has a pay slip. He has a business mind. He'll be able to identify that, we have this population that is growing in Ugunja. With my pay slip, I can access credit at the local KCB bank. I get a loan of 20 million. I put up some apartments in Ugunja for rent. Then somebody else puts, and we do it across the country. I mean, that's the thinking that as we have in Safina. You can never get this kind of thinking with the traditional politician. Because them, they want you to be looking up to them, to worship them.
To worship them.
You worship, because it's the one always giving. As we don't want to be looked at, we want when we are looked at, you're telling us we have a new barrier here. This barrier, can you remove
this
it?
barrier.
Remove this one. We want to get better. Ruto tells you, I will give Mama Mboga 50 billion.
For what?
For what?
For stock.
For what? Stock where? let me tell you. We have an AFTA trade agreement. The AFTA trade agreement allows for free movement of goods and services within the continent. Why not do a follow-up and say, okay, Mama Mboga, you come from Meru, you come from Muranga, Kisii, Emali, you bring your produce here to Mirikiti. You go to Mirikiti, by midday, the market is almost closing. Your perishables are almost rotting. You start selling them at half price. Now, it means the Nairobi market can only take this much vegetables anyway. It's saturated. As government, I'm not going to give you 10 billion. I'm going to find you new market. So under AFTA, go to DRC or go to Nigeria. Lagos has 20 million people. They import the bulk of their vegetables from Europe and America. Let Kenya get landing rights of vegetables in the Lagos market. Or DRC. Or even here in Sudan. So that Mama Mboga will be told, instead of just going to Mirikiti, drive also to JKIA. We need 100 tons of vegetables every morning to land in the Lagos market. We need 20 tons to land in Khartoum. Right? So, Mama Mboga has gotten a new market. So there's huge demand for our vegetables beyond just Nairobi. And Mama Mboga now has to employ more farm hands. She has to employ packers who will package the produce. She has to get a pickup. Now a driver has to be gotten. The aviation sector must make sure that there is a plane waiting to take the goods where it's needed. So you create an entire value chain, that employment opportunities to so many Kenyans. The government will be earning at every stage. Government is also earning revenue. Then we land our produce in the market. We are earning more money.
And Starbucks is also going to fuel the jets.
If Starbucks needs to fuel the jets, that is even Ruto will earn money. But they're selfish. They want Starbucks to go and fuel from DAFCO, from the army. Even now, they can't even think. But these are ideas that I'm telling you. Your traditional politician will never discuss these kind of things with you. This is new thinking. And we need new Kenyans. The one who have not been in traditional politics. To come, these are the ideas that will change this country. The other day you saw even my former neighbor, Magoa, God rest his soul in peace, when they were saying that they want to do away with BA, Bachelor of Education, degree courses. I mean, I'm like, which thinking is this? Because in Kenya, we are lucky. Tanzania here, they are poor English speakers. In the closer Sahel region, Ethiopia, Sudan, Djibouti, Eritrea. there's a huge demand for English speaking teachers. Instead of condemning these courses, so you think of a way in which you can now take your surplus teachers to the region. Because then, these teachers will become our ambassadors. Why do you think across the globe, especially the British Empire, you find people always look up to London? That was part of control. So if we send our teachers to the region, a young child who is being taught by a Kenyan teacher, then they believe that the people who are coming from Kenya are very bright.
Very bright.
The good things are in Kenya. That's a future market. That's a partnership you created. You are catching them young. They'll always look up to Kenya as a great nation, that a nation they want to associate with. That will be your market for your next products. We need to be thinking 25 years ahead. The problem with Kenya and our traditional politicians, they think the next election. You need to think in the next 30 years, where will this nation be? That's why Kibaki, when he came up with this Vision 2030, of course, Kibaki will not be there in 2030. But a country needs to think ahead and plan ahead. So whatever interventions you're having, you have a vision that in 30 years' time, this is what will be happening. And this is how it will benefit my people. But these ones that you have nowadays, these ones.
Okay, now that you've
Power and greed.
What I'm happy
Power
with
and
guys
greed.
now, I think guys now understand what they want and what they need. They don't care about what you'll tell us and what you are going to do for us. We
This
want
generation.
now. Yeah. I think that will help us, because there's a time, like I was saying, I was talking to my dad about these politics things. I was telling him, because also him is a politician. I don't know if you know him. He's called MJ Okum.
I know MJ. So I'm also your dad. MJ was with me in school. We did our
Butler.
law. No, the diploma in law.
In law.
The KSL program together.
Yeah, because there are some truths he talks about, but me always tell him, they can't work now. The people who are above, they will listen to you, but they won't want you to go above them, because they know what you want to say is the truth. And if you say it outside, you'll put the people who are above, like let's say Akina Raila, Akina Ruto, Akina who, they will put you beside, because the Kenyans will want you, but they'll see like the opportunity. You'll take the whole opportunity of the truth that you are saying, like the truth that you are saying now. Most of the people will now, people will want you because you are telling us what we want, and you'll show us on paper, and we will read and we will see. So now we will just give you the belief that let us try him and see.
They want to maintain the power.
You know, part of what I will do, what I always say, when we unroll our manifesto in our campaign, as we don't believe in telling you what we will do. We will tell you what you will do. The power will be in the hands of the people. That if I say, for example, that because we are saying this, that is odious, why should we pay 16% VAT on fuel to sustain a debt that is illegal? As we'll tell you, once we are sworn in on the first Tuesday after swearing in, don't pay VAT on fuel. It's you. Who computes the pump price? It's you, Mwananchi.
It's you.
So demand of the pump attendant, you are not computing 16% on my pump price. Power is in the hands of the people. Our campaign will be power in the hands of the people. And this country will change the moment we start moving away from a system that places too much power and premium on an individual. That an individual must be moved to do something for change to take place. No. We need to run a country where the bulk of decisions that are made is in the people's hands. The role of the leader should just be facilitating. But when you have leaders who just go there and you think now he's just behaving like a demigod. There's the ones, that's why you find somebody now decides, okay, my company will supply everything to the military. My company will be the one doing this energy contracts. My company will, it's not about the individual. And it's all vanity.
Individuality is a lot in this government.
And now that you've talked about worshipping them, so we'll go straight to the mountain. A lot of the mountain is almost being crucified. So you've seen the grounds on which, the 11 grounds on which, most of them, the gross misconduct. And I'd like to touch on maybe a few. I know you've gone through all of them. So first of all, do you feel like they are really impeachable, or that there are that stuff that can be pardoned? They will just tell Rigiji, okay, you just chill, this is unpardonable, just go and behave. And then also, in some of the gross misconduct that have been stated, because they have definitely stated the constitution on how Rigiji gets to violate them, he also gets talked about Rigiji being more vocal about the Murima, but isn't Ruto also just, okay, is just Rigiji more vocal and Ruto more actionable? Because from his appointments, you can see the way the recruitment is done from the KRA officers that were supposed to be done, coming from 2 communities, I mean, a big number. So is it that Rigiji is more vocal and Ruto uses proxies and actually does not talk more about it, but they're just equally the same?
Just before Willis, you jump on answering that, I'd just like to make a point. The allegations the DP is facing actually grievous, because when you check Chapter 6 of the Constitution, the integrity and leadership, there is the code of conduct for the public state officers. And I think if the allegations are true, then disciplinary action, including dismissal and impeachment, should be able to take place in
So
the
you
Senate.
think he's the dirtiest?
No, I'm saying if the allegations can be proven that they are true, that's a gross misconduct.
My take of it is this. Some of the allegations, the one about Mboto Murima, that one to me is political talk.
Yeah.
I mean, it should not warrant the national attention that he associates more with Mboto Murima. That should not be a ground of gross misconduct to warrant an impeachment. But there are certain things that I've seen in that motion that relates to, there will be corruption in terms of the colossal sums of money that is paid to some companies. If indeed that those payments were made without following the Public Procurement and Ethics, the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, or even the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, then the first step, even as this discussion is going on, Rigidi should be in Court 1, answering to crimes, economic crimes that he has committed. That is the first step. Because the ones that touches on money, I believe, the sums that were being mentioned, those ones were serious. And I don't think it will be fair to him if you impeach him and there's no corresponding criminal proceeding against him.
Because it contravenes the penal code.
Yeah. So what I'll say is this. William Ruto has committed far much more violations of the Constitution and acts of gross misconduct more than Rigiji. Save for the criminal offenses that are alleged in the petition, in the motion, there is no basis to impeach Rigiji at this point without impeaching William Ruto. Both of them should be impeached. Because when William Ruto gives his people, his political acolytes, appointment letters for KRA and TSC to work within their pockets, Rigiji all he's doing is just shouting, "Watu wa Murima." Another one is doing the opposite. When William Ruto appoints, most parastatal heads that he has appointed since he came into office are coming from his village. Rigiji is just busy shouting, "Watu wa Murima." Who should we be dealing with in terms of ethnicity? So William is practicing it. Rigiji is shouting.
Both of them.
So if shouting is an offense, then practicing is a great offense.
Yeah, it's a great offense.
If you look at in terms of upholding the rule of law, William Ruto as superintendent over a police system that has killed over 60 Kenyans and disappeared over 300 Kenyans and abductions. I believe that is more serious than dealing with somebody who's just shouting "Watu wa Murima." So we should start with William Ruto. So any impeachment motion that does not involve William Ruto, to me, is just a red herring. It is just meant to gaslight us and to manipulate the people of Kenya from focusing on the real problem that we are facing. That problem, as I keep saying, this country will not move a step forward for as long as this political establishment is still in force.
And does it really matter now that he's set to appear, defend himself on Tuesday? Does it really matter now if it's not acting, quotes unquote, if they're not acting, or rather they are not really trying to buy time and deviate from some of the things that are coming out, like the Adani deals and stuff? Do you think it really matters if he then appears, if then he's not also ready to pay these guys, the MPs, because it's like the money talks?
No, for the National Assembly, it doesn't have to appear. It's not a must he appears, because the trial chamber is the Senate.
Yeah, the same.
That is where he'll be required to appear. But I'm just seeing the National Assembly is in their juvenile excitement. Even look at the kind of public participation they're doing. So even they're trying to bend backwards to now give Rikiji an opportunity to appear. It may also be just because they don't have a responsibility to invite him to appear.
Okay.
This is just a motion to forward
It's like
the
a kangaroo
instruments
court.
of impeachment.
Okay.
But maybe it's the opportunity to also rent sick. So they are calling him so that they can do shakedown on him. The guys,
It's a kangaroo court.
yeah, it's the guys we are giving him an opportunity to be heard. So they end up to appear. And even if he appears, this thing is going to be political.
Political, yeah.
Whichever way you look at it.
It's going to be
And
on
just
party
look at what is
lines.
happening across the country today. I can tell you, I think the warm-up season for Mandamano
is-
season 2 is
on the way.
It's on
course.
the way.
We are warming and we are ready.
Okay, now as we're almost concluding, so let's talk about Chief and Shah. And it might change, the name might change anytime soon. So first of all, they need 104 billion, first of all, just to actually get the infrastructure to get into the new system from NHIF to Chief. And of course, there are so many people affected, and especially directly people who are actually doing dialysis,
Yeah.
which has been one of the people who have been affected directly, or rather immediately the rollout actually happened. And of course, some of the county governments and the hospitals run by county governments, most of them have issued statements saying that they will not actually treat guys as they wait for technical errors of shift to actually be done with. So another thing is that NHIF they brought shift so that they treat NHIF, because NHIF had a lot of loopholes, from corruption to DPS payments to typing errors, which really cost around 360 million. There's so many things really happened, around NHIF. So do you feel like shift is really going to save us from whatever it's saying now that it's going to be even more expensive? It's like they're competing the private insurance. Do you feel like it's really going to make sense?
Let me say this. One thing that we must accept, if NHIF had a problem, you first try to deal with that problem, cure that problem within NHIF, before you come up with a new system. But one thing that we must accept, Kenyans are not understanding what is going on with this shift and share thing. Two things are happening. When we said that a broke government will bankrupt you before it collapses. And I want Kenyans to understand this. It's very important. Every time the government comes with an idea, understand what is going on.
Okay.
And Jimmy did say that government will come for your assets. They'll shave your property.
Yeah.
They started doing that last year.
Yeah.
So they say you're earning this much, we want 2.7% of your salary per month. And they're claiming it is supposed to take care of those who don't have, those who earn less. It's a haircut. We are going through haircuts.
Okay.
Look even at the university banding, the funding model for university students. Yeah, of course, they're charging people perceived to be coming from well-to-do families more.
1-to-1.
So shift and share is purely a haircut on your asset, on your salary. It is not about service provision. Because if the problem was NHIF, you could have maintained then the same rates that were being paid under NHIF and then work on the system to improve it. These people have just decided to change everything, but then do the haircuts. And these haircuts are going to come to reach a point where they'll come to your bank account.
Even your land.
Even your land. When they made the proposal, for example, on your car, motor vehicle insurance to increase it by 2.5%, motor vehicle circulation tax. That's a haircut. When they said every land should be paying a percentage every year, that's a haircut. The ultimate one that they're trying to avoid, which they will come to, is your bank account and your M-Pesa account. So shift and share, in my view, it's not about provision of health services.
Okay.
It is dealing with another problem. But let's go to the issue of health. Where we come from as Safina Party, we believe that the public resources should primarily be used in public facilities.
Okay.
Let's take NHIF, the first problem of NHIF. The first problem, if you asked me, that was the first problem in NHIF. NHIF collects approximately 60 billion per year. Of which 60 billion, only 18% of it is spent in public facilities. 82% goes to private facilities. Why? Why are Akina Nairobi Hospital, Bliss are the ones who are benefiting most from... If tomorrow Bliss decides to close shop, they are the ones who will be getting the bulk of NHIF money. They can decide tomorrow to close shop and leave this country. Why can't we invest in our public facilities?
Yeah.
As a Safina, we believe any money that is collected from public sector in terms of public health should be spent only
on public
in public facilities.
facilities.
So instead of giving Bliss to go and open up a clinic in Siaya, that money should be invested in Siaya, county hospital. County hospital.
Yeah.
Because we know Siaya County Hospital will never leave Siaya. It will forever be there.
Yeah.
But why do you think the system prefers the private sector? Because that is where people are also eating money.
Yeah, eating money.
Yeah?
that's
That is where the bulk of even the fake claims are done.
Yeah.
So they're just conduits to defraud us. But if you paid this money to a public facility, the opportunities of getting it out of the public system are reduced.
Yeah.
But private sector, the hospital belongs to an individual. Can simply say, okay, all these collections, we've raised the claim, they've paid us, I'm distributing it the way I want. It's my hospital. Why are we like this? Why do we hate ourselves this much?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do these people in leadership hate Kenyans like this? Because common sense, it seems not to be common to them. So their response, in my view, when they increase the amount that is going to be paid to Chief and under Chief and Shah, look at even the system they're trying to set up. 140 billion. That is more than two times
what they
what
collect,
NHIF was collecting just to set up a system. Which is this system that is being improved? In fact, they are calling it, they're not building it, they are improving the system. Which is this system that the cost of improving it is double the
collect.
cost of the product that it is meant to
serve. Okay.
And it
Which is
still
this
doesn't-
cost?
it still
So it is
doesn't
purely
cover-
a case of somebody again trying to disenfranchise Kenyans. Somebody wants to make money
Yeah.
out of Kenyans. It's not about provision of health services. But in between this transition, you know the unfortunate thing about it? How many Kenyans are going to die? People will miss their dialysis.
Yeah.
And these people, even if it's only one person who dies, that is one person too many.
Yeah.
Because that life will never be recovered.
Yeah.
I watched a clip of an old man crying yesterday. I'm naenda kukufa. Mimi sina kidneys, I need dialysis today. If I don't get it by the end of this week, I'll be dead. I mean,
Even me, I saw a video. That's when I knew Kumbe that thing is a lot of, I think it's 9,000 and something.
yeah. And let me ask you, even if, let's even say, be basic. Let's be basic. You know, sometimes I always say, when you even see me in court, I always try to make what is called the basic argument that anybody should understand.
Yeah.
Let's just even be basic. If NHIF collects 60 billion every year, we are 47 counties. Let's just be basic.
Yeah.
We are to say, this money is for public, is for health services. We are going to invest 1 billion shillings in
Each
county referral hospital. 1 billion every year. Do you know how much, if you are prudent in terms of how that 1 billion will be used? 1 billion. You are pumping into Nairobi, into Siaya County, in Kirinyaga County, 1 billion. Not on infrastructure development, but on service provision. Because we still assume the other components of funding are going on.
Yeah,
We are just giving you an additional 1 billion every year
for the health sector.
for the health sector. Health should be free in this country.
Yeah.
And for Kenyatta and Moi Referral and Jaramogi, because it's 47, you still have 13 billion remaining. Yeah, we divided between Kenyatta, Jaramogi, and...
Yeah, the referral.
This is just for services. This is not for infrastructure development, just service. Health sector, health services in this country can be free if you are serious about it. But our political leadership does not want that. They prefer, out of this 60 billion, they prefer that 47 billion of it goes to
private hospitals.
That is where they also make their money.
Yeah.
That is why they prefer to go and take loans from domestic banks at 17% interest rate, because they know once they pay the interest rate, the money, the interest that is paid can be shared. Even them, they find they have a share.
Yeah,
And
they
let me
have
tell you
shares in
the
the
ridiculous. They tell the ridiculousness about banks lending to government. You and I take our money to the bank as deposit. Even government, parastatals, government ministries, agencies take their money to the bank. The bank does not print its own money. Bank operates on people's deposits, right? Then once we all take our money to the bank goes to government and tell the government, we are giving you a loan. Our deposits is our money. Even government deposit is there. Because parastatals, ministries have also put their deposits in the banks. Then government says, okay, I'll take the loan. And then they go at how much? 17% interest rate. Its own money. Then the government comes to me, the depositor, that now, Willis, we've taken a loan at this bank. We need to pay them interest rate of 16%. So, Willis, give me more money from your pocket. So they take more money off my pocket to pay the bank as interest rate.
The banks.
Our money.
Our own money. The most ridiculous was this affordable housing. When the government decided to take 20 billion of the affordable housing, they collected the tax from us. Then they said they cannot absorb it. They go and buy treasury bills. Government takes its own money to go and borrow.
The government is investing in the government.
No, I mean then, because the only thing in between here is a bank that is making...
the bank is making more money. Yeah.
So it means that someone in government is making money with the bank.
Making money with the bank.
So you'll even find that maybe the 17% you are being told about, the bank is just retaining 7%.
Yeah.
10% is people in
is
government.
for people in government.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let us all join government.
No, join Safina. Don't join Safina.
I'm
and
joining
change the country.
Safina. I'm joining Safina and changing the country.
So now this means that it will be even very difficult. Now, this is the second year, this government, or the third, I think. They're going almost approaching the third year. And I feel like most of the policies they bring, they have to go to court, from finance bill to shift to SHA
Everything.
to the funding model of the universities. So do you feel like it's going to be a very bad thing for them, since they really spend a lot of time in court? And do you think it's the presidency that does not listen to the attorney general, or?
No, it is the intent. You know, the things I'm telling you here that we'll do as Safina. And the Safina is a safe space. Ideas will be about the best interests of the people. But Kenya Kwanza is not a safe space. Ideas about somebody wants to make money.
Yeah.
That is the intent. The intent is not about service. The intent is about making money. That is why you see them coming up with these nefarious schemes that will not stand the test of any constitutional litigation. But if your intention was pure, that I'm doing this to the best interest of the people, you'll even find that the people will own it, because they will see through your intent.
Yeah.
Like this chief share. If the intent was about improving service
the-
provision,
yeah.
health services, I mean, nobody will be going to court to challenge it.
They've
Kenyans will be
accepted
embracing it.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, it's the intent. The intent in Kenya Kwanza is about greed.
Greed. Primitive greed.
Okay, now as we finish, also your party leader, I see them hanging around now with Akina Kalonzo. Let me call them Azimio.
No. We are not with Kalonzo. Let's be careful. My party leader was in Kitengela on the invitation of Bob Njagi. If you remember, Bob Njagi came to Kamukunji police the night of 8th of August when Jimmy was unlawfully arrested. And I appeared even with Bob Njagi. He accompanied me when we were doing a citizen interview that night.
Okay.
That was the last time Bob was seen after that interview. Because when we parted ways, Bob went home. He didn't get home. He was abducted somewhere along the way. So when by God's grace, God was released by his abductors, my party leader, he had been in touch with his family. You know, it was concerning that he had actually come to see Jimmy at the police cells, and then he's abducted. So Bob invited him to go and pray with him, Thanksgiving prayer on that day, and he felt honored to attend. And of course, so Kalonzo also was invited. So they shared a platform. It doesn't mean that we are in whatever we have. I want to make it very clear. Jimmy Willis Safina has never been in Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, and will never be. What we have is we have certain friends in Azimio.
Azimio A or B?
Both sides. There are certain ideals that we share with them, certain interests that we share in terms of friendship. But politically, we are not anywhere near there. So in fact, many people actually assume that when I was in court during the presidential petition, when I was doing the picky ponky, people thought that I was Raila's lawyer. I was not Raila's lawyer. I was appearing for civil society groups. But
They were respondents in the case.
they were petitioners. They filed their own petition, LF Khalifa and others. But we had a common interest in terms of how the election was conducted. So when there's commonality of interest in terms of issues that we believe these are advancing the cause of the people, we'll work together.
So the only place you've interacted with Raila is during management, campaign management.
And also the 2017,
streets
and after that, we met again in the petition. We are friends. You know, Raila is my nephew. In fact, when he meets me, he calls me Nera. You know, his mother is from Alego, and from my clan specifically. So whenever he appears before him, I have a duty to give him a live chicken or eggs.
So given a chance, you will stop this government.
I can never.
But if you are
I can never. Let me tell you. And thunder strike me. I can never serve in a Kenya Kwanza government, never in any position. Because I do believe that the intent in Kenya Kwanza is not about service to the people. Where I've reached in life, I don't think that I am hungry. I have a home in Alego. At least I have a place I can sleep at night in Nairobi. So what is this that I'm looking for? I believe that this quest for public service is not about that I'm looking for more food to eat. I don't need it. In fact, my doctors tell me that I need to reduce weight. So in fact, what I look out for is more of how many times should I not eat? How long can I stay? So what is this greed? That's why I don't understand greed.
So you don't want
Because
to
greed becomes a problem.
Yeah.
When you're in public service, just be about serve the people. Now think about the person who is not fortunate, who is not able to eat. That young man who is not able to go to school because of lack of school fees. That poor graduate who has done everything the society told him to do, went to school, get the best grades, and then you can't get a job commensurate with his qualification. You've reduced him to now grab the next motorbike and become. And I have no problem with boda. I'm simply saying it should not be that you are doing it out of the failed system that are not create for you jobs commensurate with their qualification.
But out of choice.
Let those who are out of choice, that me,
out of choice.
I enjoy, I'm a rider, I enjoy riding. I want to do my boda as a side hustle, as a part of enjoyment, as part of a hobby, or as a career that I see I want to grow it into an industry that will help people to move around, quick mobility, and deliver goods and services. But not because of the system has failed me. So I will never. And with all due respect to the people of Kenya, if my quest to serve is to serve with the intent in Kenya Kwanza, I'm very comfortable sitting in a leg.
You don't want to live large like people from Bonde La Uva.
No, why should you live large?
not
I mean, to what end?
It's not
But he has said it's okay. So
You know, to what end? You know, I don't need. Look at my shoes. Look at my shoes. See, my feet is covered. My feet is covered.
5 million.
You know, there's something my pupil must have told me. My pupil must have Chacha Odera. He's a very good lawyer. Chacha told me something which I hold to date. He was one day traveling out of the country, and on the plane was somebody who was working in Moi's government. And he had been involved in so many corrupt cases. In fact, Kibaki was president at that time. And so the guy was, they're going to the same holiday, so you're in the same plane. You're a thief. But you see, you just boarded the same plane with me. Me, I'm a hard-working lawyer. I'm sitting on the same plane. So we arrive at the same destination. Then, by chance, they end up in the same hotel. So, and he was saying he was having his time with his family, spending time with his kids. Then this guy was always on the phone, talking to his lawyers. Mara, this case,
corruption cases.
So he's looking at this guy now. Look, he stole all that money. When it comes to even going on holiday, you've come to the same destination, same plane, same hotel. Even the bed, I don't think they're giving you 10 beds to sleep in the night. You're just sleeping on one bed. But even if they gave you 10 beds to sleep in because you think you have a lot of money, you will not sleep because it means every 1 hour you have to wake up to sleep on the next bed. You will not enjoy it. So what he told me, Will, is that in life, you need to have what we call self-actualization, satisfaction. Be satisfied with what you have. Don't be greedy, because greed gives you now problems. So the difference in that trip, what he was telling me, is that while he had a time with his family, he was able to bond with his kids. This man, whereas he also went with his kids, he was bonding with his lawyers. He ended up bonding with his lawyers and the courts, discussing cases that are going. I mean, I don't want that kind of life. Me, I want a life that even when I walk on the streets and I meet Kenyans, and which I do even today, happy. They're happy with me. People just tell me, it's good, you speak on our behalf, you advocate our issues. And to retire to Alego. Alego is the House of Lords, where the kingdom of heaven will land when it comes back on earth.
That's your opinion.
That's my village. That's my village, where the kingdom of heaven will land. So, even when America had a problem with the leadership, they had to come to Alego to look for a president. And we gave them Obama. So even Kenya, with their problem with leadership, don't worry, I'm here. When the time comes, the people of Alego will consider your request. But the point is this, no, that's on a light note. The point is this. And that when the time comes for me to retire, I go and live a peaceful, quiet life in Alego.
Yeah.
Nyerere retired in the village here. Just will go with Mama to the market to buy vegetables. He's carrying the bag. They just pick nyanya here, maybe for 20 bob. They ask somebody to slaughter for us 1 chicken. I mean, simple life. Because at the end of it all, after all that is said and done, we'll end up 6 feet.
All is vanity.
All is vanity. So why do you spend your entire life causing chaos in people's lives?
Yeah, amassing
causing
wealth.
pain in people's lives, amassing wealth in a way
That you won't use.
You'll never use it. At the end of the day, it's 6 feet. 6 by 6.
Yeah.
So
how much land does a man need?
You only need a small piece. So that the people of Alego, my ancestors, allowed me to, at least they guaranteed me ancestral inheritance. I don't need to acquire wealth. I don't need wealth. So I'm not even driven by a desire to acquire wealth.
So in hindsight, a bond is a bond. So just choose your bond. That's the bond you want. So thank you so much for coming through. So your parting shot?
My parting shot is thanks for the opportunity and for those who've tuned in to listen to us.
Okay.
It was quite engaging and I liked the conversation. I mean, it will not be taken for granted that you can have this kind of platforms to talk.
Okay.
So that is why I say it's an honor for me to be hosted here and to thank you, the three of you and listeners and even the people behind the camera, to give me this platform to talk. Because all I can do is just talk.
Okay.
And
But don't lie.
I don't lie. And I want Kenyans to hold me. I want Kenyans to hold me to account in terms of my words.
Okay.
In terms of what I do. Because when you start holding us account even before we get into office, it becomes a culture.
Yeah.
So that the issue of holding us to account becomes part of our lives.
Okay.
And we must respond. When you are called to account, you don't be angry. Don't send SSU to arrest. You just say, okay, I'm wrong.
So that you don't
Tomorrow's
talk
another day.
of swimming lions. But anyway, so I also thank you for coming through and for also being easy and cooperating. I also want to thank Billy for making this possible because he reached out to you before we actually started talking to you.
Yeah.
So also thank you for making time for us. And we hope we'll invite you back.
I'll be glad to come when you invite me.
Yeah, so
Actually,
when you become DP, don't change your number.
No, I will not change my number. When I become DP, in fact,
Because I've saved that one.
when I become DP, what I want you to do is that interview, you'll start by playing me this one. And telling me all your commitments, are you making them or not?
Okay.
You can even do a summarized version.
Okay.
Yes, because public office is not about the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the people.
Yeah.
It's about the people.
So don't behave as if you are an almighty God, that you want to lord it over us. It's about the people.
Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And we hope you follow us on IG, TikTok, Twitter, and also get to actually get the insights that we've talked about in this episode. And let us get to know what you have to say in the comment section so that we could have Wakili back. Maybe Wakili has lied to us here.
Even the presidential candidate.
Yeah, the right time we should invite him and have a conversation with him.
Okay. Now that will have not to talk.
To you.
Okay. So Banter Box episode 33. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time.
Yeah.